This is Patrick from New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel here at Overland Expo East in Virginia. And look who I just bumped into. This is Craig with Lifemates, and he has this awesome rig. This thing is absolutely incredible. He's gonna give us a full tour inside and out. Him and his wife travel all around the country, and they're about to take this out on a big trip. And the inside is amazing. So join us for the tour.
Hey Patrick, thanks for having us on your show, and I look forward to showing off what we have here, or we're fortunate enough to have here. It is a 1988 MAN truck, which was actually a collab between MAN and VW. So the actual front of this looks like a 1980s Vanagon if you were to take this front piece of paneling off of the front here. So starting off, everybody asked, how big are these tires? These tires are 43 inches tall. They are run flat tires, and they are Hutchinson rims, which means the rim it is a two-piece rim. So you take these outer bolts off, and you're able to actually take the wheel apart with a seal so that you can replace the tire if you need to on the side of the road, which I hope I never need to do. So the diffs are actually in the actual hub. So there's a sun gear in there that helps kind of liquidate some of that back pressure on the wheel. The one thing we're looking for, if any of your people can give us a good idea for a step for this, because my wife has a hard time getting up into the cab. We had stole an idea from another manufacturer we thought was amazing. They were like a fold down step that you use on Fords for the rear tailgate. Unfortunately, this cab tilts, and we didn't realize it was going to hit the tire when we did that. So you live and you learn. So some other cool things is there is a ladder here that you can get from the cab up to the roof. You just have to open the door, and then you just kind of jump up on the tire, and you can climb all the way up onto the flat part, which is nice for solar panels and keeping them clean and that kind of thing, especially when you get into dusty environments. So up on the rack, which is a custom built rack, we actually have 2 aluminum boxes up there for some just over storage. We put light stuff that we don't care, that doesn't need to be weather tight, just so we don't have to worry about it. We do have a 5-ton hydraulic winch, which is actually hooked up to the PTO of the engine. So that will pull from either the front or the back. So we just had to redo the linkage, and we can actually pull from the rear as well. We do have all these brand new lights from Triple R Lighting, which is a European brand. We are absolutely in love with these lights. One nice thing about these lights is they actually have a coating on them that's like manufacturer spec, so you don't get that like dusty gray on the light, the metal part, which was important to me being an engineer. So over here is the front cab. We're going to take a look at that at the end, I feel like. We got battery box, which is our 24-volt battery, which is the regular what this vehicle came with. And everybody asks, what was this originally? Well, this was originally a German fire truck. It had all the German fire truck apparatus on the back with all the water tanks and all that stuff. And they took that off and put the composite box on the back here. So starting off in this compartment, we have all of our kind of just excess storage. So we do have onboard air. So I have some of my air hoses here. I have my hoses for connecting up for fresh water. I have some 2 extensions. So I got about 300 foot of hose. So if I'm far from the spigot, I have that. I have all the amazing things like thieves and everything that you learn that you need when you go, especially into Baja and stuff. You need different connections to connect up to their portable water or freshwater purification systems. That's really it. It's just a storage box here, pretty shallow, but it's a great place to kind of keep that stuff. In this box, we do have a actual, cassette toilet. So this is the cassette. You just pull it out and then dump it into a regular dump, or you can put it into a porta potty, or you can put it into, you guys know cassette toilets. So we also have an outdoor shower, which is amazing here. That actually connects up in here. So you can take a shower out here. If there's people around, you either got to be comfortable with that, or you have to actually put a little shower curtain that we have as well. This box here is actually our hydraulic heating system. So this actually, the whole floor of this composite box has a tube where it'll heat the whole box. So even our garage space is all heated. This is the 5K system to do that. It's a Johnson pump. And then this here is our dump for our gray water. We have about 20 gallons of gray water in the rig. And then behind that is the hydraulics, the oil for the actual winches. So that's an original piece of the vehicle. Here we have a massive garage. The garage goes all the way through. And there's one cool thing you'll see with the garage. There's a little bump out like halfway. It only goes for the first like foot. And that's, I'm gonna show you an inside. You're gonna love that. It's an awesome like thing that this thing has. Also, we have these slide out trays here where we keep extra parts and some tools. Those are 2 deep. And I know it's pretty full, but that's just how we travel. So down here is where I keep kind of like all of my oil and kind of parts. I also keep the tire piece, which I'm going to show you here in a second as well. So that's there. One cool thing about this truck is it does have a swing away bumper. So if we do get into a really steep kind of back side, it tilts up. But if a car hits it, it doesn't go in. This motorcycle rack as well is a hydraulic motorcycle rack. So it does go all the way down to the ground, which is probably worth seeing because it's pretty cool when it does. I'm not going to do it all the way, but it will go all the way completely flat with the ground. I put a couple tanks on here recently, all aluminum, just to kind of match, but we use this not for any of the interior of the truck. This is all for outdoor cooking. So we love cooking. We have a pizza oven in here. We have a jet boil. We have a big propane stove, which I'll show you as well. And then we have a Blackstone, like everybody has to have, I guess, nowadays. So we have too many outdoor cooking things. That's the only thing I'm using that propane for. Motorcycle lift will lift a 600-pound motorcycle, and once again, it will roll completely on. This piece actually screws onto here when we need it, which hopefully I never need it, but this goes on here, and then it will lift the tire off of the back if we ever need to lift it down, because that tire weighs about 350 pounds. We also have our sandboards here, as you can see. So if we do get caught in sand or snow, we have ability to get out. This is actually an umbrella that we use and can be also mounted on the front of the vehicle to give a shade in the vehicle. We are considering potentially putting an awning on the side. We haven't committed to that yet. There's also a 5-gallon jerry can mounted on the bottom side here. And if you look underneath, we do have shock adjusters here to control the shocks, depending on if you're on or off road. And the winch is actually mounted back here behind the axle. So in here, we have another propane tank, and then that oversized cast iron cook surface, and above it is the other side of that garage. We do have lighting through the garage, and once again, it is conditioned. So everything in this garage, you can see the pizza ovens here. I have also a, what they call a scuttle as well in there that we love to cook with. Super thick composite. It's almost exactly like a Yeti cooler. It has the insulation between. And then the staircase slides in. We have a 60-gallon gas tank, which will get us about 900 miles on a single. And water fill is over here. I do have connections here for both US and, we have US and Euro plugs. So we can plug into either and charge the batteries if needed. And then the most important overlanding tool ever is a shovel. So we're going in. So before you guys, well, as you guys come in, you're gonna see a few things. Number one, we do have a screen, which is an accordion screen, which is the best application in my opinion there. And we'll kind of just work our way around this way. To start here, we do have some storage here where we keep the dog stuff. Usually keep his dog dishes down here, some garbage bags, that kind of thing. Over here is where one of the inverters is for charging the batteries, and then the 110 outlet. So the American power is all in here. And then you can see we just got some dog stuff in here. Water pump is over there. And then there's a connection to connect the electric heat if we want to use it. So if we're on shore power, we'll heat this thing with electric, so we're not using fuel. If we're not, then we'll use the diesel heat, which is the secondary heat. And then we can also use the actual engine itself to heat the whole system as well. So you have 3 forms of heat in this vehicle. This table does twist a little bit here. And there is a door here that is a security door, which is just one of those storm security doors you use on a business. And it gives us full access to the front cab from here. So, and that's also insulated as well. All the windows are Outbound windows, which is a European brand. They actually are double pane glass. They're all awning windows, so you can leave them open in the rain because the rain just kind of beads off of them. And you do have screens, bug screens, and then you also have blackout screens as well. So, and that's on every single window in the rig. It looks like I need a new gas strut there. These are for the lights above, so they're just, it's a very light touch, turns them on and off. We do have also the skylights as well. These benches will seat 2 on each side, so you can fit 4 adults up here, and a rig this size is really, really awesome in my opinion. And then below, this is where all the water storage is, just a heads up. So this lower part here is where the gray water and the freshwater tanks are. And then we have the hydraulic heat that comes up here and some switches and some old like 80s style radio system, which is awesome. Everybody wants to know how much lithium do you have, right? So I'm going to show you. We have 500 amp hours, but it is all 24. So that doubles us up quite a bit. We do have Victron, as you can see throughout, and then this is the European inverter, which is a 300 watt inverter. So, and then we have 600 watts of solar on the roof. So that gives us enough to, and I'm not 100% sure I'm right on this, but this is just a feeling. It's enough to keep us equalized when we are in south. But when we're here in the north, it tends, I lose about 5% of the battery a day using Starlink, using the fridge, and just our basic run of the day. So over here, we just have some storage, some additional storage. I don't really use this, but we have the ability to kind of use that as well. This is kind of our control center, which I'm going to do a little modernization over the next few years. But we do have water pump, which is just a normal switch, our inverter control, a stereo for the back here. This kind of tells us what's going on. You can see we're making 120 watts of power right now with the fridge on. We can also see what's going on with the water tanks and the gray water tanks, all that stuff. So this is our solar controller. So this controls the solar power that's coming in. So you can see we got 6.8 amps right now coming in. And then this runs all of the heat in the whole rig, so we can control that. It also runs the hot water, which is also off the same system. So we don't have a hot water tank. We actually are, it's a dual use system. So one thing, well, before I get into that, the storage in this thing is like the next level. We are amazed at how much storage. We just got tons of storage here. And then my wife loves cooking, so we got tons of food storage here, and she might have jammed stuff in here. So if it's a mess, I apologize, but and we got cleaning supplies and candles and stuff in here. And then below we have a microwave, which is on the inverter as well. And then we got more water storage and some of the other good stuff down there. So over here is the kitchen. One thing we have is a pop-up tray here to extend your kitchen work area, but it's also mounted a little lower so that you can actually sit on here and put your feet up here too with a cushion if you like. So above it are some controls for the outside lights, and then the lights in the kitchen here as well. So, and then we have, this would be the European power here. So that's we're getting there. We have an induction cooktop here, which we have 2 inductions. We rarely use this just because it does use a ton of power, so we can use it. We just, number one, don't like cooking inside of our living area, so we do it when we have to. We usually are cooking outside with propane. That's our preferred style. We have 2 of these fans which get airflow through here, amazing. This fan here actually is for the front unit, and then we have one at the bed, at the foot of the bed as well, which is amazing. This controls the electric heat right here, and then above there is a thermostat, so we can set the temperature of what we want that electric heat to run at. The faucet is a pull-out faucet. It is, like a normal household faucet. So stainless steel sink. We got the paper towel rack. Got additional L bracket kind of stuff. And then here is our silverware drawer, which you'd expect. Over here is a overflow where we keep in our induction kettle and all that stuff. And then below is your IKEA trash bin, which is a really good size for a rig this size. Our fridge, the handle, I just got a brand new one. It broke, and then someone here just looking at it broke it completely off. So I can't open that right now, but I'll be able to open it by the end of the day. Bathroom is amazing, and the size of it for a rig this size is even more amazing. So let me back out here. So it is a wet bath. It has the towel warmer there, which also is heat in there. So when you're in there taking a shower, you got nice heat. It has 2 compartments above. Everything in here is watertight. And you do have a sink, which is pretty rare in a vehicle this size, a mirror, Maxx fan. The shower head is amazing. And then everything goes into a shower pan with the cassette toilet as well. So to us, this is like, for a bathroom, it doesn't get much better than that for, once again, a vehicle this size. One of the coolest things in this truck, and I told you I was going to tell you about this when we were in the garage, is this top drawer. So this top drawer goes nearly almost all the way to the back of the bed. So like for food storage and stuff, everything's right here and you can see it. You're not digging through the back cabinet, so we really love that. And then the bottom one kind of serves dual purpose. Actually, the bottom 2, they're actually drawers. We put our shoes in there. And then you can kind of walk up into the bed. We usually just use the bottom ones enough to get up there easily. So, and the bed is a queen size depth wise, and then width wise it would be like, I always call it a California queen because it's longer than a regular queen. So I'm 6'2", so I have plenty of leg room in here, and my van, I didn't always have that case. And then with all of this storage above, it is just, we can get all of our clothes storage up there. And then we have a little overflow that we put down in the garage, which works with this this here. And then we do have, my wife has a obsession with spices, so this is just her spices, which is a lot. We know that, but that's what she likes. And then we also have a snack exception, so we got a lot of snacks. So those 2 things usually get us through. Above me is the air conditioning. This is a DC air conditioning, so this runs off of the battery bank. We can go about 2 days of air on this if we were just completely going to empty our batteries out. We try not to do that. We try to, you know, use natural air when we can. And with the insulation on this, it does keep it cool in the summer and it keeps it warm in the winter. So if you keep the windows, if you get it to a certain temperature and you keep the windows closed, it does help a lot with that. We do have a rear, once again, a skylight, which is amazing as well, you can see here. And then we do have outlets back here for both low voltage and high voltage, so you can charge your phones and all that good stuff. So once again, the whole floor has got a heating system in it, so everything is radiant heating here. And then in the cab, we've done some updates with the TV screen so I could have Apple CarPlay. That was important to me. We love using our Garmin as kind of a backup. And I do have an awesome 4K dash cam, which really makes me feel comfortable if someone's to pull in front of me or something like that. It is a stick shift, so it's a manual transmission, so you have to, that's my security device, because most people don't know how to drive stick anymore, so that helps me from anybody stealing it. There is one cool thing I'd like to show you outside with the locks on there. It's an aftermarket thing. We'll go over to the other side because it's easier to see. Excuse us. So if you're in a high crime area or a place where, you know, you're just not feeling safe about the regular door locks, there is this device, which is really cool, which will basically cover the whole door frame so you can't pull the door open, and you can't even use a pry bar or whatever. So this is a great, we have them on both sides as well. And then inside the cab, we have air ride seats, which is also great in a heavy military vehicle, sorry guys, where you're gonna get some air bounce, which helps out a lot on the ride. So we go about 60 miles an hour in this. That's about the max that we can go, but it travels really nice at that 60 miles an hour.
And some of the viewers are going to probably ask, like, do you need a CDL to drive a 15,000 GVWR vehicle?
So the answer for that is you should have one. However, because it's considered an RV and this was registered as an RV, and that's probably the other question a lot of your viewers are going to ask is, like, how did you get this German vehicle registered in the United States? And the reason we're able to register it here is because of the fact that it's actually a 1988. So it falls into that historic vehicle category, but it is registered as a mobile home. And when you see those people driving those giant buses on the road and stuff, they don't have a CDL either, and I feel like they should. But the reality is you do not need it for this.
Well, that's amazing. For a 1988 vehicle, it is in exceptional shape. There's no rust on it anywhere.
Yeah, it's super clean. That was one thing that was really appealing to us. The engine was actually upgraded horsepower-wise to a 1998, which has about 224 horsepower, 224 horsepower, which still sounds low in today's models, but it's a diesel and it's massive, and the torque is just off the charts. This also has what's called a crawler gear, so you can flip a button and it will change the gearing ratio to 1 to 50. So this thing, when you put it in and you put it in first gear, you could literally get out and walk around it, and it's going so slow, but it will climb over anything in that gear.
And it's got lockers too, so you can get yourself out of any situation.
Correct. So it's got lockers in the front and the rear. It's also got a transfer case locker. So it's got all of that. We've gone up some gnarly stuff. We named the vehicle Sherp after we brought it on some really crazy off-roading stuff. And the reason we named it Sherp was because we thought it was like our own personal Sherpa. It got all of our gear up to the top of the mountain, and we didn't have to personally carry it ourselves. So that's the reason we came up with that name.
And I like the fact that it's a Volkswagen Vanagon front.
Yeah.
So everybody recognizes that. Are you going to do the conversion and put it?
So we've been on the fence with that because this modern front looks so cool. We love it. But on the same note, bringing back that nostalgia of having a VW front on this, we feel would be cool as well. So we're kind of on the fence. We'd love to give your viewers input on that. Like, what do they think? Should we make it into a man again, or should we leave it a man? That'll be an interesting survey.
That's a tough choice. You can go either way, obviously. And you guys are YouTubers, and you had a van, a camper van previously, and you did some travels. What are your plans with this?
Yeah, so we actually started off with a vintage Airstream, and we got in way over our head. We had no idea what we were doing, and we bought the cheap Airstream, which is the worst one you can buy because that's the one that needs the most amount of work. And we learned everything. We kind of got the travel itch after that, but we realized it was just too big to travel with. So then we got into a Sprinter van when the van scene happened. We were right in the beginning of that, and we had that for about 4 years. Loved it. We loved the ability to be. It was a 20-foot van, so we were able to stop in like cities and overnight camp and stuff like that. So when we got this, it was really important for us to still stay in a small enough spot that could fit in a standard parking spot. This does. It fills up every inch of it, but it does fit in a regular standard parking spot. It's 20 foot long, 11 foot 4 inches tall, and about 7 foot 4 inches wide. So it looks bigger than it is, and it looks more intimidating than it is. But that was important to us when we were buying our next rig. So from here, we just came back from a trip down to Dallas, Texas, and we're actually from here going down to, we're going back to our home base for a short stint, and then we're going down to Key West, Florida for the month of December. So we're excited about that.
So Van Life Mates on YouTube, check them out. Craig, I really appreciate the super detailed tour. And this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel here at Overland Expo East, and this rig is awesome.
Thank you, Patrick.
Appreciate the tour.
Appreciate it.